our first annual AIT Seminar in Nepal.
सँगै आउनु सुरुवात हो, सँगै जानु प्रगति हो भने सँगै काम गर्नु सफलता हो। आज मिति विक्रम सम्वत 2071 कार्तिक 29 गतेको दिन तदनुसार 2014 नोभेम्बर 15 तारिकको दिनमा हुन गइरहेको AIT प्रोग्राम फ्लेमिङ इन्टरनेसनलले आयोजना गरेको यस कार्यक्रममा पाल्नुभएका सम्पूर्ण दर्शकवृन्दहरूलाई स्वागत गर्दै कार्यक्रमलाई उद्घोष गर्न हामी द्वय उपस्थित भइसकेका छौँ। त्यो रूपमा हामी यस समय आसन ग्रहणमा जानेछौँ अनि हामी आसन ग्रहणको क्रममा सभापतित्वको रूपमा यस कार्यक्रममा सुनमा सुगन्ध दिनको लागि हामी यस कार्यक्रमका सभापति राजीव राईलाई आसन ग्रहणको लागि हामी ताली बजाएर स्वागत गर्छौँ। त्यसैगरी हामी हाम्रो बीचमा आज प्रोग्रामको लागि विशेष गरी प्रमुख अतिथिको रूपमा हामी उहाँलाई बोलाउन चाहन्छौँ।
मिस्टर टेक
हामीलाई विस्तृत जानकारी दिनुहुनेछ। त्यसैगरी हामी अतिथिको रूपमा आसन ग्रहणको क्रममा छौँ। अब हामी यस समय अतिथिको रूपको लागि आउँदै हुनुहुन्छ। हामी अझै ताली बजाउनेछौँ। हामी यस समय उहाँहरूको लागि ब्याज वितरण तपाईँले देखिरहनु भएको छ। हाम्रो यस कार्यक्रममा
आजको AIT मिन्स रहेको छ अलवटा इन्डस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिङ प्रोग्राम अनि आजको यस प्रोग्राम AIT मिन्स अलवटा एप्लिकेसन्स एन्ड इन्डस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिङ मिस्टर टेबाट नै उहाँले हामीलाई जानकारी गराइदिनु हुनेछ।
फ्लेमिङ्गो इन्टरनेसनलबाट हजुरहरूलाई मुरी धन्यवाद पनि टक्राउन चाहन्छु। र AIT प्रोग्राम हाम्रो यो चाहिँ नि अल्बर्टा एप्रेन्टिससिप इन्डस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिङ प्रोग्राम हो, जस अन्तर्गतमा तपाईँको आज AIT मात्र नभएर तपाईँका जति पनि FSW प्रोग्राम र तपाईँका EP प्रोग्रामहरू जति पनि छन् यिनीहरू सबै तपाईँहरूको अगाडि समक्ष चाहिँ झलकहरू प्रस्तुत गर्नेछौँ र आशा गर्दछु तपाईँहरूले सम्पूर्ण जानकारीहरू चाहिँ राम्रोसँग प्राप्त गर्नुहुनेछ र फेरि पनि आइदिनु भएकोमा धेरै धन्यवाद।
मलाई हामी हृदयदेखि नै फेरि धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ। अबको पालो रहेको छ हाम्रो यस आजको प्रोग्रामको
केही भिडियो झलकहरू हामी हेर्नेछौँ अनि पहिला हामी भिडियो झलकबाट नै हाम्रो मन्त्रीतातिर फर्काउनेछौँ र आजको कार्यक्रमको विस्तृत बारेमा पनि तपाईँलाई थाहा पाउन सक्नुहुनेछ। र यो भन्दै गर्दाखेरि कार्यक्रममा यदि तपाईँले फोटो खिच्दै हुनुहुन्छ भने नखिचिदिनु होला मोबाइलबाट। र अर्को कुरा म तपाईँलाई जानकारी गराउन चाहन्छु, नाम दर्ता गराउँदै हुनुहुन्छ भने पनि तपाईँले नाम दर्ता गराउन सक्नुहुनेछ। र तसर्थ हाम्रो लागि खुसीको कुरा के हो भन्दाखेरि विशेष गरी हामी विद्यार्थी हामी युवाहरूको जिज्ञासालाई समेट्ने कोसिस पनि आजको यस कार्यक्रमले गरेको छ। पहिला हामीले केही कुराहरू बताउँछौँ हाम्रो सरहरूबाट तपाईँहरूको माझ राख्नुहुनेछ र अन्तर्क्रिया पनि आजको कार्यक्रममा छ। त्यसै
भिडियो झलकमा आज भिडियो प्रेजेन्टेसन सो ओइल एन्ड ग्यास इन्डस्ट्रियल अलबर्टा क्यानाडाबाट चाहिँ उहाँ वक्ताको रूपमा उहाँले हामीलाई सिकाउँदै हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँले सो गरेर हामीलाई देखाउँदै हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँ हुनुहुन्छ मिस्टर टे।
Inviting me to, I'm losing it. Let's do this one here. For inviting me to Nepal. I love the country so far. Oil and gas in Alberta, so obviously you heard that Alberta is well known for the oil and gas industry all across the world. But I don't think anybody knows, or maybe not, how we get the oil from the ground. In Alberta, there's two ways of getting the oil out of the ground. And I think we're going to just show a couple videos. The very first is called the oil sands, which is up north in Alberta, and it's in the Fort McMurray area. And Reggie will show the video, and it's pretty impressive. And the reason why I'm also here because of the AIT, and you'll see why we need a lot of skilled workers. One that's very good. It runs 24 hours, 7 days a week, every day of the year except for one day, that's Christmas. All these sites that you see here, same thing. They run 24/7 every day of the year, and they, in this case here, they have 70, 80 people working at a time. In the oil rigs, you have a man crew of 5 that runs 24/7. So we're just going to show a quick clip of the oil rigs or the drilling rigs that are more popular in Alberta.
Dependence on oil and gas is a given. Without these fuels, life as we know it would grind to a stop. Many people believe that once oil or gas is found, simply punching a hole in the ground will allow it to flow in 10 to 30 different service companies, each one adhering to stringent around-the-clock scheduling, safety, and environmental practices. Understanding how a well is drilled goes a long takes so much time and money. The first task is to prepare the location. This starts with building a road for access to the site, clearing the area where the rig will sit, and providing infrastructure for water and electricity. To prevent contamination of the soil or water table during drilling, an earthen pit is dug in line with a thick layer of plastic to hold rock cuttings and drilling mud. Next, a pilot hole is dug at the precise location into the drilling string as the pit drills deeper. When the hole reaches a designated depth, the derrick hands circulate fluid through the hole to condition it for logging, the process of measuring and recording the characteristics of the well. The logging information lets the oil company determine if the well indeed can produce oil and circulates mud through it again to test the casing. If everything tests positively, they remove the drill pipe and rack it. And the hole for production. The crew runs small diameter tubing into the hole as a conduit.
Workers in a lot of different fields. We're looking for welders, pipe fitters, different areas actually, even cooks. We're looking for, because in the camps, most of these places have up in Fort McMurray, these guys that go there for 21 days straight, 7 days off, 24, they work 12-hour shifts. In Canada, we have a law, anybody that works anywhere over 44 hours in 1 week automatically gets overtime, so you get paid time and a half. So the good thing about working in the oil field, no matter if you're using the oil sands or the drilling, you will automatically, after the 4th day, get time and a half. And nobody works less than 12 hours. Everybody works 12 hours, and sometimes you work 21 days, 7 days off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Some of them will fly you to a camp. You live in the camp for those 21 days. Some companies will take you to a town called Lloydminster, Lethbridge, Fort Nelson, BC. Wherever the drilling goes, that's where they'll send you. And we're looking for a lot of skilled workers. So I can give you a list of the skilled workers that we're looking for. Heavy equipment technicians, heavy equipment operators. Those big trucks that you see, they're not standard, they're automatic. So, I've sent women working out there, and we have, in Alberta, last year alone I brought 1,100 people from across Canada into Alberta, and I would say out of the 1,100, 200 of them were women. So women could do these jobs as long as you just put up with the stuff that happens out in the field. I tell everybody, get used to the swear words, because that happens in the industry. But it's great that we're looking for all these different positions. Heavy duty equipment, heavy equipment technicians, iron workers, plumbers, pipe fitters, sheet metal workers, steam fitters, millwright, carpenters, looking for a lot of carpenters because in the oil and gas industry too, you have to build the frames to do the cementing. So the AIT application process is something very unique. It's been around for a long time, but the process is, this is the application that who's ever interested is going to fill it out. Based on the trade, it's required so many hours and so many months. You don't need to prove, you don't need to have any certificates. Experience is what we're looking for. So if you have, for example, a pipe fitter, he's got 6 years of experience, that's all you need. The only thing is, the only way that you're going to get your application denied if you are not telling truth on your application. So for example, if you work for a company for 6 years and got all those hours, you could apply. If you work for 4 companies in those 6 years, doesn't matter, that's your experience, you could apply. So it doesn't matter what area, if you're a pipe fitter, welder, different skills does require more hours. And I'm just going to give an example here. For example, a carpenter, you need to have 8,160 hours or 72 months. Versus a plumber, you need 9,000 hours or 72 months. So, and a welder only needs 6,700 hours and 54 months. So all these trades are very highly, I guess what I could say is that they're looking for lots. And we're going across the world trying to get as many people as it is. So let me explain how the process works and the step-by-step procedure and how we do the AIT application. Okay, first you're going to get the application form from Flamingo. I'll continue anyway. So once you get the application, you're going to fill out every detail. And the most important thing is what Canada does. When you fill in the application, you're going to fill in who your employer is, who your supervisor is, and their phone number, and, okay, good, we're back. Okay, the next step, and the only documentation I was saying earlier, you only need your passport. They don't want to see your certificates, they don't care about your certificates, or if you get a degree in it, or you got a certificate in doing a special trade, it's your experience. The certificate doesn't hurt, but they only want with the application is a copy of the passport, that's it. They are going to, okay, then the next thing you're going to do, okay, once the application process will take approximately 3 months. And the reason why it takes that long, because all the employers that you have listed, they need to contact that employer. So they're going to call. Somebody from Canada is going to call, whether it's in your language or if the guy, your supervisor speaks English, they'll get somebody in English. If they want it in your language, they'll get somebody that speaks your language and call that supervisor to confirm if you have those hours and those months of experience. That's it. It's a very simple process, and it said 99% everybody gets approved as long as you're not lying on the application about your experience. Okay, so that's the most important thing. Yeah, if approved, you will receive an email. So once you're approved, you will send an email or a letter advising that you have been approved. So you know now you could go on to the next step. The next step, once you've been approved, you'll have 1 year from the date of the letter to come to Canada, which is actually really good. So now they're giving you time to get yourself all organized and ready. Now, so you got this letter, what do? Now, how am I going to come to Canada? How am I going to find an employer? Because actually, you do need an employer to have you come here, which is through the LMIA process. I don't know if you guys watch the news or anything, but Alberta or Canada right now has gone through a very strict change in the LMIA, or it used to be called LMO, now it's called an LMIA. So they've gone through very strict changes, so all these skills that we were looking for, before June 1st of 2014, you did not need an LMO. Now they don't care. Every single skill, no matter what you do, needs an LMIA. So that process is still there, but this is where the next step is contacting Flamingo, who contacts us here in Canada, or there in Canada, and we help find the employers that are looking for skilled workers. In this day and age right now, it's not hard. You see the Manitoba or Alberta winters. It is harsh, but I don't think it's that harsh. I've lived in those areas for a long time, so I don't think it's hard. The good thing about in Alberta, when it gets cold, at least you could dress for it. You dress warm for it. If it's hot, you can't dress down. You have to have what we call a PPE, which is your personal protection equipment, which is your coveralls, your hard-toe shoes, your hard hat. So once an employer has been located, Flamingo will assist you in getting your work permit. Now, work permits range of getting approval, all depending on the country. Sometimes it takes 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months. Asian countries, for whatever reason, is taking a little longer, but at least you know, and I know everybody's rushed to come into Canada, but the good thing about it, once you get your work permit or get the request in for your work permit, now you can plan for your future. That's the most important thing. Don't rush. Don't go, I mean, I've been in this industry for a long time, and I have people walk into my office, and I'm just going to give an example from India. They will pay $15,000 to $20,000, and this is a true story. I'm going to tell you this. I had 3 East Indians walked in my office. Each of them paid $14,000 to come to Canada. They got the work permit. The employer picked them up at the airport the night before, took them to the office the next day and says, "We don't want you." So what do these guys do? They don't know anybody in Canada. They don't have any relatives. They don't even now have any money because they spent it all on these things. It should never cost you anything more than the average, I would say maybe $2,000 to $3,000. If anybody asks you to pay, to me, this is my opinion, if anybody asks you, okay, your employer says, "I'll hire you, but you pay me for the fees." Don't do it, guys. It's against the law. If that employer gets caught, that's our first step. I'm not even going to go any further. The first step is get your AIT approval. Once you get your AIT approval, then we move into the next step of finding you the employer, getting your work permit. Now you've got your work permit, now you're coming to Canada. What happens when you arrive in Canada? First thing is the AIT, the government of Alberta. Of course, we are there, and this is why I'm here. When you arrive in Canada, this is where we will help you step by step to make sure you've done it correctly. So, so you have 6 months to write the exam. You have 2 chances to pass. So if you failed, you could rewrite the exam. Now everybody asks me, and I know a lot of people are going to say, "What is the exam on?" Well, it's going to be on your trade, but this is where we also help you. So say if you're a carpenter, pipe fitter, welder, we can give you the pre-exams to see if you will pass it, to help you understand what that exam is going to be on. So this way you're not going blinded. You could have, once you do the pre-exam, you know you have a good example that you're going to pass. No problem, right? Once you pass, you have to work 1 full year in that trade in order to get your work permit. And you will get, so not your work permit, your permanent residency. But you have to work 1 full year at it. If you fail the exam twice, you will only get a 1-year work permit. And then you will have to go back at the end. But, I tell people that comes to me, don't worry about the exam. If you are good at what your trade is, it shouldn't be a problem, And maybe a lot of you guys think, okay, it's in English. Well, we can help you prepare for that also, because before you apply for your PR, you also have to pass your English, the ALEX test. And you have to get a certain mark in order to get your PR. Well, we're not going to let you guys go blinded. If you need help, and how many of you guys speak English? Right? I understand you probably, you guys understand English because you guys took English, right? Most of you guys did. And I understand it's probably the written, or maybe it's a communication problem. We help you with that because in all those fields of work that you saw, whether you're up north in the oil sands or in the drilling rigs, Alberta is huge on safety. Safety is the biggest issue, or the biggest thing that Alberta or Canada is very serious about it. And I get people telling me, well, how's this company, how's their safety? I said, don't worry about the safety, it's you. Safety starts with you first. So, if that's an issue with some people. Where are we? I passed to get 2. Yeah, once you pass, you get a 2-year work permit. But like I said, once you're done your first year of that same work, you can apply for your PR, right? And that's with all the trades. Any trades that we're looking for, and Flamingo will have a list of all the different trades that Canada is looking for. It's a great opportunity to come. This is, the winters are not that bad. Yeah, look who that is, right? Okay, yeah, again, if you fail, you have only the two times to go. So I want to just, if anybody has any questions about the process? After the first year, if you take a 1-year education at any university or any assigned college, you will be able to get a 1-year open work permit after the year. Or if you do a 2-year course, you get a 2-year open work permit. Having an open work permit in Canada is fantastic because now you can work in the oil industry. And you can work anywhere in the oil industry and make $27 or $28 an hour. Wow. And it's fantastic making that much money. And I also put budgeting courses on there because now people are making so much money they don't know how to spend it. Or they don't know how to save it. They go crazy and spend it all, right? I see somebody have a question. Do you have a question? No? So, you have that up there? Okay. You must have been accepted by a designated learning institute. Now, if you go on the CIC website, it does, or even Ask Flamingo, they will have the list of all these schools that are allowed to bring in student visas, or bring students from across the world. Interesting little fact that I didn't know, and Flamingo told me the other day, there's 3 provinces that has the most students. BC, Vancouver, BC, of course, because that's the beautiful area. You got the ocean right there. It's the first, I think, at 47%. The next province is Ontario, which is, I think, at 30-some%. And the third is Quebec. Alberta is down at maybe 14%, but it's becoming more popular because all the students that are going to Ontario to get their degrees are coming to Alberta anyways to work once they get their education. So it doesn't matter where you go, come to Alberta in the first place. You'll see how great the country, the province is. So once you get that, the next step is applying for the student visa. And this you can do is through Flamingo also, because they will be contacting us in Canada. Next step. Okay, must prove that you have enough money to pay for your tuition fees, living expenses, and return transportation. This is important. I think this is where a lot of students or people are getting mixed up. We all know where some people get the money. Sometimes they get it from relatives, put it in a bank account, send the bank statement to the student, the visa department. That's not going to work. Definitely not. You're going to need to keep that money in there for at least 3 or 4 months. Show that you have it in there. Have money coming in and going out. Definitely you need to do that, right? That's the most important thing, is showing that you have the money to pay for your tuition. And it doesn't have to, if you're in a 2-year program, it doesn't have to have the money for the 2-year program. It could be just for the first year, right? Usually I tell people it's anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000. That's what you need to show how much money you have in the bank account. Once approved, you contact Flamingo International and they will take the next step in helping you get your student visa. Once started the school at the university, allow you to work 20 hours per week. Yeah, this is a great thing for the students now, because now they don't have to work for the campus or anywhere on the campus. You could go off, work at restaurants. You don't need an LMIA or LMO. You just go and apply, and it's great. Now you could work up to 20 hours. Depending on if you have a year course or 2 year, yeah, this is where I was saying that you could get a work permit. So if you take a 1 year course, you get a 1 year work permit. 2 year course, you get a 2 year work permit. But you have to complete those years. Some students will go, they get their open work permit, they start working, then you decide to not go back to university. Trust me, university will keep everybody informed that you're not attending your classes. So it's important to do that. Contact Flamingo for assistance for employment. So let's say you're finished now, and you don't need LMYA, but you now need some help finding a job. So they get a hold of you guys, get a hold of them, he gets hold of us, and then now we start promoting you to any employer that's looking for people. You young guys coming out of university, oil and gas wants you guys badly. Anyway, from 18 and up, and under 30, they want you badly, and they will take you as long as you got the proper training. The student visa is a great way of coming into Canada. I think it's a great education. We have great universities. Actually, Alberta University is the one that's working on diabetes right now, and they're getting huge rewards for having a lot of situations that resolved in that. So I think we're supposed to take what they want. Once it does that, the employee still has to do the LMIA, or the LMO, whatever it's called now, right? Go through the same process. But once he has the LMIA, if they decide to pick you, yeah, the process is very quick. But what are the chances? The most important thing on the express entry, to me, is not even worry about going. Go put your name in the pool, but then go try to get somebody like through either Flamingo or through us to find the employer for you, and go through the foreign worker program. To me, it's going to be the same thing, But it's something new. It doesn't take effect until January. I think they're going to change. And in Alberta, our laws change. Sorry, our laws. Hello. Our laws change so much, and I'm going to get this everything. Hello? Maybe I should touch it here. Our laws changed as of June the 1st, and I'm just going to give you an example why. A Canadian was working for McDonald's in Vancouver, or in BC somewhere, and he was complaining that the foreign workers were getting more hours than the Canadians. Well, our government decided to do a full investigation all across the board. So I think it started in April, and they held anybody coming into Canada until they resolve the issue. So now they've gone to the extreme, and the fee for an employer went from $275 to $1,000 to apply for the LMIA. So now the employers now have to pay a lot of money to have a foreign worker. But the government now is saying, okay, but now you have to prove why you need it. So it's a little stricter. It's slowed down June, July, August, September, and maybe beginning of October. The employers slowed down because they couldn't afford it. They paid $1,000 a person, but then they realized after putting all the ads and all the papers, they still couldn't find workers. They still couldn't find. So we're back to the same thing. Now employers are starting to hire and start doing the LMIA process because now they're budgeted for that amount of money. So a perfect example is a Tim Hortons that has 10 foreign workers. So they were only paying $2,000 some dollars. Now they're paying $10,000. So that's a huge expense for a small little restaurant, right? So now they're realizing, okay, we have to budget for it. Now they're all coming through. It's a long process, but the approval now, for even if you get your work permit, the work permit takes a long time because now the government is doing more audits to make sure everybody's following the guidelines and following the rules. And to me, it makes sense because you do have the companies that abuse it, but you also have the companies that abuse the foreign worker. They're not paying the way they were supposed to. And I'm glad now the Canadian government is putting audits on it. Anybody that doesn't follow the audit rules, they get fined $100,000 per person and they'll never have a LMIA anymore, right? So the express entry, do go ahead and put it in there. I don't know how well it's going to work. They say it's supposed to work, but I don't know. I'm just going to read some things that they tell you here so everybody can understand it. Step 1, the potential candidate completes an online entry form. Potential candidates will complete an online express entry form where they will provide information about their skills, work, experience, language, ability, education, and other details. Those who meet the criteria of one of the federal economic immigration programs subject to express entry will be placed in a pool of candidates. Candidates will be ranked against others in the pool. The only highest ranked candidates, those deemed to have the best chances of economic success, and those qualifying offers are range employment or provincial territory nominations will be invited to apply for permanent resident. So if a candidate does not have a valid job offer from a Canadian employer, he or she must register through the government job bank. So to me, it's just a long process, and it's really gonna, I don't know how well it's gonna work. The second step is the Citizen and Immigration Canada will invite certain candidates to apply for permanent residency and process through electronic applications within 6 months. So if they think that you qualify for permanent residency, that's great, because now you can apply for permanent residency within 6 months. So that's even better. But then the employers have to also register, so then the employers will pick on it. So to me, by all means, apply for it, but then in the meantime, have somebody help find the employer. That's the only way it's going to work. How many of you guys send resumes to foreign workers online? Has anybody sent resumes from here to apply for jobs in Canada through themselves? Doesn't work. Employers don't have time to read their emails. I've been in HR for over 20 years. The only way I'm going to hire somebody if you harass the hell out of me. Seriously. You have to phone those employers. They will never respond to you. Maybe the odd one do, but if you're going to seriously try to find an employer in Canada who will hire you, you definitely need to call. Or you get people like Flamingo or myself, or now we need to find the employer that we know that are looking for you. Because I've been in the industry for so long, I know what the employers want. I'm not going to waste my time or the employer's time giving them somebody that I know they're not going to work. And I'm not even going to help you if I know that you're not even serious about working in Canada at a certain field. Because it's not easy working in the oil and gas industry, or let's say even in the construction industry. Lately it was called the pipeline that's going from Alberta to BC. It's going to the shores and then they ship it out. It's called the, can't remember the pipeline. But it just started. They're looking for a lot of skilled workers to build that pipeline. And it's going from Alberta straight through the Rockies all the way up to BC. And then there's another one starting, going from Alberta down through the United States to Mexico. That's another one. It's, so our oil is shipping everywhere around the world. So that's why we're looking for a lot of people. Okay? Any other question on the express entry? Nope. This is for skilled workers, such as nurses, senior managers of financial institute, financial managers, human resource managers, purchase managers, managers in healthcare, construction managers, home building and renovation managers, managers in natural resources, financial auditors, investors, security agents, supervisors, property administration, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical and electronics engineers, petroleum engineers, data analysis. The list goes quite on. So let me see here. Computer programmers, mechanical engineers, construction estimators, electrical electronic engineers, industrial instrument technicians, computer network technicians, nursing coordinators, registered nurses, special physicians, dietitians, speak language pathologists, occupational therapists. All these are special skilled, and this is a very interesting process on this one. Now you're based on a marking system, and you have to have 67 or better scores. Now they're going to score you. Did I list all those ones separately? So they're going to score you on different things. I'm just going to list them here. There's 6 selection factors: English and or French, education, experience, age, arranged employment, and then skill factor and English immigrant. So these are the scores, and you need to, like again, a 67 out of 100. So for English, you have to have the IELTS test, and if you must get, I think what it was, 25 of that. So anybody who wants to come through the skill program, if you have these type of skills, you go talk to Flamingo. We have a scorecard. So for example, if you rate 25 in your English, and that's in all categories as a grand total, so whether you're listening, writing, speaking, and those, you get a certain score. If you have a relative in Canada, you get points for that. If you have a degree, you get points for that. What else is there? Experience, based on your experience in that same trade, you get points for that. All those totals come up to 67. If you're over that, we process your application. It's an easy way to come into Canada, and it's a faster way. A lot faster. Okay? Especially if somebody here knows French, that's an added plus. And this also goes for a husband and wife team. So your wife will have her own scores, but they do add scores for her English, and vice versa. So you can both get the same scores for the English, so your points will go up. Let me see here. That's about it I have on the special skilled workers. Anybody has questions on the skilled worker? Anybody that needs to do a test on it, we have the test for them. So let's go to the doctors and nurses that want to come into Canada. You have to pre-qualify. Your skills and your education must be verified. We do that also. We will make sure that you do the pre-test. And it's registered by Canada. So it's recognized that this test is the pre-qualifying test to make sure that you have the experience and the knowledge to become either a doctor, nurse, nurse's assistant, or anything like that coming into Canada. So there are tests that you do. We send you that test. They're online, so there's no problem. You can stay here, do that, and then we help get you the employment for that, no matter where it is, what hospital it is. But there is strict guidelines that you have to follow. We have the guidelines. Flamingo have the guidelines also. So he'll walk with you step by step through all the procedures, right? We also have training. So anybody wants to be a nanny, caregiver, project manager, rig drilling, we also have these things online. For example, if you want to be a nanny or caregiver in Alberta, it's best to stay in your country, do the training. It's worldwide accepted training, and then come to Canada. Because if you are in Canada and you want to be a nanny and you're a foreign worker, once we get you the job, you have to leave the country in order to get your work permit. You cannot stay in Canada. That's why I prefer people taking the course outside of Canada. You're at your own home, at your convenience. Once you pass, you get your degree, and then we turn around and try to get the employer to do the LMI for you. To me, it's a lot safer. a lot cheaper instead of coming all the way to Canada, take the courses, then you have to keep paying away. But we do have any of the training programs to do. We, you know, in the near future, we are hopefully to have a welding school here actually in Nepal. Welding is huge in Canada. We're looking for welders, no matter if it's first year, second year, third year, and it all depends on the type of welding you're doing. You know, I'm not an expert, but there's spot welding, there's, you know, different type of weldings. But we will have a school, and hopefully in the near future we will have a school here in Nepal to get your degree in welding, and then you can come to Canada through an apprentice program, because you always have to start as level 1, level 2, level 3, and work your way up. But any of the training programs we do, Flamingo has a list of all our training programs that we do. They're all certified. For example, I do oil and gas training, and in Canada, in Alberta, you must have these 7 certificates in order to work in the industry. Once you're completing that, I have employers come in, and if they do, I have 30 to 40 people every month come to my training program. Employers will come to you, do the presentation to a group like this. Meanwhile, one of the other employers' co-workers are walking around with a camera, taking pictures, saying after the presentation, okay, I want this guy, this way. That's how easy it works to get people to work, right? So any of the training programs, like I said, Flamingo has a whole list. I have forklift, Class 1 driving. Class 1 driving is a golden ticket in Alberta because you see these big trucks. Some of them you need a Class 1 driver's license, and my God, we don't have enough to fill up the positions. It's a little different policy if somebody wants to come to Canada and get a Class 1. You don't do it in Alberta because Alberta doesn't allow foreign workers unless they get a permanent resident or a work permit to work. But you could go to Ontario, which I have 2 schools in Ontario. You go to school in Ontario, you get your Class 1, you come back to Alberta, we get you the employer, you switch from Ontario license to Alberta license. Very simple. As long as you know how to drive a standard, no problem. And no experience, by the way. I have put so many people coming into oil and gas or into Class 1, you don't need the experience. They're going to train you. And that's what the whole purpose of getting people to work. They will train you to get your work in your jobs. I don't know if you noticed, that most of the people, if you're new on the oil industry, you're wearing a green helmet or a hard hat. Everybody else will be in the colors of whatever the company has. We call it greenhorns. And the reason why they call it greenhorns is because you're wearing a green helmet. But that's hard hat. But that's great because now your next employee beside you will watch over you and help you train. So never worry. I mean, I've heard people even saying how hard it's going to work in the oil and gas industry or in the pipeline. It is hard, but my God, you're getting paid fantastic money. Fantastic money, and you're getting your overtime for it, right? So it all depends on the skill. But we also have, the AIT application could be for cooks, for even there's hairdressers, could come into Canada through the AIT program, right? But it's hard to get the LMIA.
विद्यार्थी साथीहरूलाई अथवा जसलाई पनि सल्लाह र परामर्शको सल्लाह खाँचो त पर्छ नै, त्यसैले सही सल्लाह र परामर्शले हामीलाई ठिक बाटोमा पुग्नको लागि मद्दत गर्दछ।
क्राइम र अब जस्तो तपाईँहरूले सुन्नुभयो एआइटी है, एआइटी यो होइन कि मात्र एजुकेटेड पर्सनलाई स्किल पर्सनलाई एप्लाई गर्न सक्छ भनेर हो। अब त्यसमा चाहिँ कस्तो छ भन्दाखेरि यसमा अब तपाईँहरूले अब सुन्नुभयो, अब जस्तो कि अब 6 सालमा तपाईँहरूले 4वटा कम्पनीमा या 10वटा कम्पनीमा वर्क गरे पनि इट डजन्ट म्याटर्स, तर तपाईँको एक्ज्याक्ट एक्सपिरियन्स एक्ज्याक्ट के गर्नुभएको थियो त्यो टर्म्स त्यति सालभरिमा त्यो तपाईँको एक्ज्याक्ट उयो मात्रै चाहिएको हो। अनि त्यसमा एआइटीमा एप्रुभ फर्स्ट हाम्रो अब फर्स्ट प्रोसेस हुन्छ एआइटीमा तपाईँ एप्रुभ हुनुहुन्छ या हुनुहुन्न, तपाईँले एआइटीमा गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ या सक्नुहुन्न, त्यो मेन थिङ फर्स्ट प्रोसेस भनेको तपाईँको एआइटीमा एप्रुभ हुनु हो है। अनि अब मेन थिङ अब जस्तो मिस्टर टेडले भन्नुभयो तपाईँहरूलाई है, अब नेनी केयर या केयर गिभरको जबहरू पनि गर्न चाहनुहुन्छ भने त्यसको लागि पनि हामी यहाँ ट्रेनिङहरू एभाइलेबल गर्छौँ हर किसिमको। बिकज अब हामी एउटा अथोराइज फ्लेमिङ्गोस इन्टरनेसनल एउटा अथोराइज अर्गनाइजेसन हो, एन्ड वी आर नट ओन्ली इन नेपाल, हामी पुरा एसियामा हाम्रो ब्रान्च हामी धेरै जल्दी इस्टाब्लिस गर्दैछौँ, नेपालमा, इन्डियामा, पाकिस्तान, बङ्गलादेश अनि फेरि साउथ कोरियामा एज वेल। अनि धेरै चिजहरू अब अझै फर्दर धेरै चिजहरू बुझ्न सक्नुहुन्छ। अब जे पनि इन्क्वायरी या फर्दर इन्फर्मेसन तपाईँहरू सुन्न चाहनुभएको छ, अफिसमा आएर है हाम्रो एक्जिक्युटिभलाई तपाईँहरूले भेट्न सक्नुहुन्छ फर्दर मोर डिटेल्सको लागि। थ्याङ्क यू
छ भने उहाँले तपाईँको माझ राख्नुहुनेछ। अनि यति बेलासम्म पनि हामीले सञ्चालन गऱ्यौँ, सञ्चालनमा पनि केही भुल त्रुटि भएको छ भने हामी माफी चाहन्छौँ। यति भन्दै हामी यो कार्यक्रमलाई उद्घोष गर्न छोडेर ओजेल पर्न चाहन्छौँ। हामी सञ्चालक द्वय र म सुनिल राजलामा बिदा हुन्छु। नमस्कार।
किनभने कुनै पनि कुराहरू 100% हुँदैन, त्यही कारणले गर्दा तपाईँहरू माझमा कुनै पनि जिज्ञासा प्रश्न छ भने अहिले नै हाम्रो गेस्टमा तपाईँले राख्न सक्नुहुन्छ।
What are the training programs that you have in Canada? Because I don't have any technical skills right now, so I want to come to Canada and get some training, in technical skills.
Okay, what did you say you were doing?
Currently, I'm working for the bank. I'm working in the banking sector.
Okay, what were you doing in the bank?
Credit and recovery.
Training and recovery.
Credit.
Oh, credit and recovery.
Yeah.
Oh, the guys that fell on their loans, right? So you're after them. Can I see my thing? A worker program, right? As long as you get that 67 points. So, number one, you speak great English. So have you ever written the Ellis test, the English test? Would you have a problem writing it?
No.
Right? So you're very close. So how long were you doing this at the bank?
Probably 6 years.
Well, see, I think it's important that you should come into the office. Let's do the scoring and see where you go, because it could be in a short time you can come through that process. So it could be a lot. As long as you get that 67 points. Do you have any relatives living in Canada?
No,
No, but that doesn't matter anyway, right?
Well, actually, I wanted to ask you, I don't want to work. Can you list me down some of the
Okay,
training programs?
so you're asking, yeah, we have different training programs, right? Exactly that. I would say the easiest way, we have companies that are looking for, it doesn't matter what type of job you're doing as long as you get into Canada. I think that's what a lot of people want to do, right? And you want to get here the fastest way. First thing I always say, don't even think about the fastest way, because it's not going to happen, right? Not nowadays, right? But the world actually, because you now become a PMI, Project Management Institution, right? You have the degree, you don't have the experience, but you have the degree. So once you're finished the whole course, you will get a degree, and it's called CAMP, which means you're an entry-level project manager. Now you could go as an entry level, which is fine. Now it's still going to be office type of work, maybe, or it could be in the field doing project management. That's one way of coming through. Or coming into Canada and taking the forklift training that we have. Forklift training that I put on is not only forklift, it's skidster. You know what a skidster is, like a little bobcat, right? Mm-hmm. Then I give you some safety certificates along with that, just in case you're going to work in the oil industry, plus 2 days first aid training. And fall protection. Now you're full certified to go into any type of forklift company or warehouse. Like Cisco Canada is one of our customers, and they hired lots of foreign workers with the forklift training that they come through our program, right? So yeah, there's different programs that would suit you. The project management makes more sense to me because you have the education and you don't have to come to Canada. Get the certification and let us promote you to the employers while you're here. Less financial strain on yourself because you don't want to come to Canada. If I want your money, I'll say, yeah, come to Canada, take my program, and then what happened? It takes me a month to find you an employer. I don't want that happening, right? Take your time, get the exam, and then let us promote you. That's the proper way of doing it. And this way, you now have a choice of when you want to come when we find you. Right? Yeah. It all depends on yourself. So it's on. It's an online training, online course. We sign you in, we give you the password, and if you want to take a month to finish it, if you want to take 2 weeks to finish it, it's all up to you, right? It's just like, it is 18 different modules in part. So, it all depends on how much you want to do it on a daily basis. So if you're working now, do it in the evening. Right? It all depends on you. Yeah.
सोध्न चाहनुहुन्छ भने सोध्न सक्नुहुन्छ।
Those students that wanting the student visa, I see you 3 there. You guys are students? Who's the students there wanting student visas? You want to apply in 2015? Actually, I suggest that actually because right now, it's what, November?
So, you can apply in 2015 also.
Right? Yeah, you could apply in
I
2000.
heard that FSW is valid till 2014 only. So I just want to know whether we can take IELTS in 2015 and apply for FSW.
If you want to take your IELTS in 2015,
Yes.
but you apply for a foreign worker thing now?
No. Like, since we cannot take late in 2014, can we apply in 2015?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And as
In
a,
FSW, not in Express.
no, the foreign federal skilled worker. Oh yeah, that's definitely.
I have heard that in 2015 we don't have FSW. Is it true or not?
No, you know what? Our Canadian government changes every single day. We know in 2015 everything's not going to stop. This thing that I have right here, this is the one that just recently came out, right? So it changes every day, but the federal skilled worker program is still going to be there. The express entry level is not for, it could be for the skilled worker, but it's for the average person too.
One more thing, I've heard that I have experience in INGO field,
Okay.
development field, as an assistant finance manager. So I've heard that development field will not be valid for applying for FSW. Is it true? That's what I'll not get point from
I think the most important thing is, and it's kind of scary what's going out, what people are hearing. Always go to the main source. I have the document right from the government website. And you can check it out yourself too, right? I mean, it just depends where you look. I had a perfect example from a lady that was in Toronto, was selling one of her clients was in Brazil. It was an actual LMA from the government of Canada to work in farm in Manitoba. I was born in Manitoba and lived in Manitoba 30 years. There is no way anybody in Manitoba is going to get an LMIA for a foreign worker to come in. There's no way. And so she sent it to me and it was fraud. It was fraud. I also had my training programs. Somebody in another country, I can't remember, was selling my training programs for farm work. I don't have any training program for farm. So, it's so dangerous out there. I won't be here if I didn't trust filming. I came, 20 some hours from here. To me, always go to a source of reliable information, and because there's so many scammers out there, never take the chance, and it's not worth it, right? Just always go to somebody. So you're going to hear different rumors. Even in Canada, we hear different things, right? I mean, the LMA, people who were the LMIA stopped for good. They're not going to allow any foreign workers to come in there. Canada cannot afford not having, because in 2020, majority of the population is going to retire. So who's going to replace all the retiree people? So it's never going to stop. Never stop. But always get a hold of somebody reliable for information, or go onto the CIC website and check it yourself. Yeah. But it's not going to stop. It won't stop. It might change the rules. I mean, they change it every day. And I had an example of one of our staff member did a application for an LMIA for an employer. And she started on the Monday, she finished on the Friday, and meanwhile on Wednesday they changed a little paragraph and it got denied. So you have to watch every day. Yeah. You know, we have your what do you call them, cleaning the rooms, cooks, front counter, people that front desk, at night auditors. So there are a lot of different employees out there, that individuals and engineers. That's it.
कोही यता हुनुहुन्छ
Yeah.
उहाँहरू जति पनि पार्टिसिपेन्ट्सहरू आउनुभएको छ जस्तै हामीसँग धेरै प्रकारको जबहरू चाहिँ क्यानाडामा चाहिँ सम्पर्क गरेर कम्पनीसँग सम्पर्क गरेर चाहिँ हामीसँग अलरेडी नै जब एभाइलेबल रिक्रुटमेन्टको लागि एभाइलेबल भएको हुन्छ। जस्तै अब कोहीसँग सिटै छैन अथवा छ सिट तर जुन चाहिँ नि युज हुन सक्दैन, त्यो जुन सिट छ यहाँ त्यो चाहिँ युज हुन सक्दैन उता हुनसक्छ त्यस्तो कुराहरू। त्यस्ता व्यक्तिहरू छन् भने पनि हामीसँग जस्तै कुक प्रोफेसनको लागि अनि तपाईँको फ्रन्ट डेस्कको लागि, हाउसकिपिङ क्लिनरहरूको लागि चाहिँ इभन जेनरल लेबरहरूको लागि पनि जबहरू चाहिँ एभाइलेबल गरिरहेका छौँ र प्लस हामीले त्यसको रिक्रुटमेन्टहरू पनि लिइरहेका छौँ। त्यस्तो कोही सिटै नभएको अथवा त्यहाँ गएर त्यो सिट जसको काम लाग्दैन भनौँ न, युज हुन सक्दैन, युटिलाइज हुन सक्दैन भने त्यस्तो होपफुल पिपलहरू जो कन्ट्याक्ट गर्न चाहन्छ भने हात उठाउन सक्नुहुन्छ। कोही हुनुहुन्छ? कोही हुनुहुन्छ भने भन्न सक्नुहुन्छ। मलाई लाग्छ आउने कुरा पनि होइन। कोही हुनुहुन्छ? मिलन मिलन
After completing my class 2 and I've done my diploma and advanced course in beautician. So I'm looking further if I can apply for beautician.
Beautician, that means
yeah, like hair designing.
Yeah, but the makeup artist.
Oh. It's going to be hard. No, seriously, you know, there's some industries in Canada that, you know, even though they show it that they want them, it's hard. I'd rather be honest. You know, I mean, it's a great field, but it's hard for us to find employers that are going to willing to pay the $1,000 plus the 3 months of advertising to say why there's no Canadian that could do that job, right? You know, I'd rather be honest. You know, yes, I want your money or whatever, but no, it's just going to be too hard, right? So in my thing, you know, to me, it is one of the hardest fields to find a LMIA. Your best chance, and if you ever want to come to Canada, take anything else, right? And then come to Canada, and then while you're in Canada working in another employer, then try to find somebody that will go while you're there. But at least you got a work permit and LMIA, making money. Then while you're there, try to find an employer that's going to help you in your field, right? But if you're going to hold back trying to find that, I'm not going to say, you know, I've always got tricked before, you know, I say, oh, never it's going to happen, but you never know, it could happen. But I'd rather just be safe and say it's one of the hardest things to find, right?
How about if it has a nanny?
Yes, nanny or caregiver, right? Nanny or caregiver, do the education, do the online training, because you do definitely need to have a certificate, right? Have you had any experience in a previous?
I'm a Christian, so we're teaching there for free of cost and we're giving them care because nowadays in Nepal also every parents are so busy, mother and father, so we're fulfilling the gap that mother and father can be.
See, that's perfect. So nanny or caregiver is your best option. Now, there's a choice when you become a nanny or caregiver. You could live in or live out, right? So you could have your own place, or if you live in, you'll have your own room and everything. I mean, Canadians are very well respected. That's either one is your choice, and you know the difference, right? So if you're taking care of caregiver, it is the elderly, could be the handicap, it could be anything, right? And then the training. When you take the training for nanny or caregiver, when you come to Canada, once you finish the course online, you come to Canada, you also take 2 days first aid training, which we give you. Because I think in my mind, if you're going to be a nanny or caregiver, you better learn first aid. I mean, if you don't know first aid. So to me, I throw that in as part of the course. So now you have 2 full days of learning first aid. So when you come here, you get the course, you get the training for the first aid, and then the employer will help you. And we could help find the employer. If you look on the internet right now, nanny and caregiver in Alberta, you see lots of them. Right? So that's a better choice. But then when you come, then you can look in your own field as you're doing your nanny or caregiver, right? And if you want to go back to your field, just find an employer. Because you could switch at any time, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
जसले पनि प्रश्न सोध्न सक्नुहुन्छ प्लिज कोही हुनुहुन्छ
I am currently working as a software engineer and here was IIT. I will go to Canada for my master's program and work in software engineering industry as well. Is it possible?
and work there. Is that possible?
As well as he wants to work in a software company.
Software engineer.
Well, you could come through the school, right?
No, actually.
There's the CDI, there's a CDI college, but I don't think they have that type of subject that you want, or that career, or the degree. But University of Alberta does. So what we do, we'll do the assessment, because we still have to verify your credentials, right? The education, because the school has to accept it to say yes, it matches what they're looking for, and then apply for the University of Alberta. They'll send you the letter of acceptance. Then it's up to you to have the money and the thing. I love University of Alberta because it's a huge university right in the middle of Alberta, Edmonton, and they're very well known for their science, for their diabetes research foundation. I used to be on the board of directors for the juvenile diabetes research, and University of Alberta was fantastic in that. So you can definitely do that. It all comes down to being accepted by the university and having the financial means of coming, right? That's it.
Is it possible to work in IT industry?
Do it part-time in any IT company, 20 hours a week. They know that you're working and going to university. Once you're finished a year or 2 years, you get a 2-year open work permit. You work with them for 2 years. And that's how a lot of people get LMIA, because now the employer likes you. You've been there for 2 years. Of course they're going to help you get the LMIA, as long as you have a company to help them do the LMIA. Because the LMIA process right now, if you have less than 10 people employed, if there's a calculation now, it never used to be a calculation, because as of 2016, only 10% of the employees are allowed, 10% allowed to be foreign workers. So if you have 30 people, only the next year is 30%, and the following year is 10%, right? But yeah, you could work only 20 hours a week, then after that, you could work full time. Yeah.
कोहीबाट केही प्रश्न छ आजको कार्यक्रममा तपाईहरु बस्दिनु भयो, तपाईहरुको अमूल्य समय चाहिँ हामीलाई प्रदान गरिदिनु भयो, त्यसको लागि हामी धन्यवाद ज्ञापन गर्दछौं र आजको कार्यक्रम यहीबाट समाप्त गर्दछौं र हामीले सोचेका छौं यो प्रत्येक वर्ष यो समारोह गर्नेछौं हामीले र यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले दिगो रूपमा लानेछौं प्लस अब तपाईको हामीले चाहिँ यसलाई घोषणा गरेका छौं कि हाम्रो कम्पनीको यो चाहिँ फर्स्ट एनुअल डे भनेर मानेको छ। त्यही कारणले गर्दा हामीले हाम्रो ब्रान्चहरु विस्तार गर्ने योजनाहरु पनि गरेका छौं एसियाभरि नै हाम्रो ब्रान्चहरू विस्तार गर्नेछौँ। त्यसको लागि तपाईँहरूको सहायता, तपाईँहरूको अमूल्य सुझावहरू र तपाईँहरूले हामीलाई स्वाभाविक रूपले यो वातावरण दिनुभएको छ, त्यसको लागि हामीले मुरुमुरे धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ र आजको कार्यक्रम यही समाप्त गर्दछौँ। धन्यवाद।
That's the husband and wife.
I sent you
Talk to me
resume,
about
right?
that before I left Edmonton.
Yeah, I talked.
We definitely need to sit down and talk to you guys, because there's different ways of treating
That would be perfect. That would be
because there's ways that we could help you.
So call him for location and we can meet.
Actually, just can talk to him because we are going to the other places. I need to take him around.
It will be quite busy, just you can coordinate with me.
Yeah.
I send it to you.
We're talking about the skilled workers, but you're the company that is